Welcome back to the channel, dear viewers. Tonight, we delve into a tale that uncovers deep family grief, accusations of betrayal, and a looming legal battle. The story is titled "My In-Laws Accused Me of Betraying My Late Husband and Threatened Legal Action Over a Family Heirloom." Join me as we unravel the events that turned cherished memories into a source of conflict and heartbreak. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this intense story. I, female 33, lost my husband very unexpectedly 7 years ago. We knew each other from a very young age and married when we graduated college. I've known his family for almost my entire life, and they're the closest I have to actual family. My own family situation has always been problematic. I became very close with his parents in particular. I will still call them my in-laws, and we supported each other heavily through the grief process. We didn't have children before he passed, but we were trying. I began slowly dating again 4 years ago, mostly casual dates and nothing serious. In-laws were broadly supportive. I told them I was ready to date and they said okay, but didn't want to know the details. As a result, I only ever spoke about my dating life vaguely and infrequently to them. Around the same time, I got a big promotion and began to spend a couple of months a year in Paris for work, global issue permitting. Then 1 year ago, I met Armand, male 38, and started my first serious relationship since being widowed. Given Armand lives in Paris, our relationship is based there. While we have traveled quite a lot together, we have yet to go to the US together. He hasn't met my in-laws, but I have told them I'm dating someone. Around Christmas, we found out I was pregnant. This was a total surprise as we weren't trying. We've since decided that I'll move to France permanently instead of splitting my time between the US and France, so we can raise a family together. Unfortunately, it isn't really possible for Armand to move to the US. He works in the art industry and his studio and backers are all Europe-based. I told my in-laws and they were deeply upset. They said I was depriving them of their only opportunity to have a grandchild. My husband was an only child. Then they accused me of moving on too quickly and not loving my husband. In the end, we had a huge argument and they demanded that I leave all my husband's belongings from our apartment, his clothes, personal effects, etc. to them when I moved to Paris. They also demanded my engagement ring, which is a family heirloom. They said that they should have these because while I've moved on, he'll never stop being their son. I said no. These things are all treasured memories from my life with him, and I never want to forget. They have threatened legal action to recover the ring in particular. I don't think they have a proper legal right, but I can see the hurt I'm causing them with my choices, and maybe by giving them what they asked for, they'll be able to have closure. Am I the idiot for continuing to refuse? Then they accused me of moving on too quickly, and I stopped reading right there. So, he passed away 7 years ago, and they say she's moving too fast. What happened to Opie and the in-laws is horribly unfair and tragic, but after 7 years, Opie deserves to find love again. The in-laws really should see a therapist to address this. You are not the idiot. You didn't divorce your husband. He passed away. The person you chose to spend your life with, and that was taken away from you way too soon. Unfortunately, he was taken from them too soon as well. I would try to find a compromise, which may be giving them the ring and you keeping the rest, or finding a few things of sentimental value and giving them those. But ultimately this was your husband. These are your memories with him and you'll never stop loving him just because you found someone else to love as well. You are the idiot. The ring should absolutely be going back to the family though. No matter how you feel about it being given to you, the heirloom is meant to be passed on to a future generation family member at some point, which again isn't possible in this case because you two never had a child together. You're moving on, and your family's now with another bloodline family. The heirloom ring is not meant to be with that family at any point. I'm sorry, but this is a very bad take. Opie's a widow. Widows do not lose their place in a family. The ring will go where she sees fit because she's the rightful owner. Opie, it's your choice one way or another. However, I wondered how you having a baby with your new partner is depriving them of a grandchild. Totally bemused by that. If they want to be considered your child's grandparents, the last thing they should be doing is making petty demands. Update. After the funeral, I already gave many of my husband's possessions to my in-laws. What I kept were some clothes that reminded me of happy times. Things with his handwriting on them, memories from trips, etc. And I want to keep those. It's not like I'll be lugging a huge amount of things to Paris. It's not unreasonable that I keep these. They're memories we made, not with his parents. It was worth clarifying that I don't have a separate wedding band. We couldn't find one we liked which matched the ring. So my engagement ring is also my wedding band, which my husband put on my finger in the church. I do wear the ring frequently, and it's the only thing I wear with any regularity. I really don't want to lose the relationship with my in-laws. They've always been so kind to me before all of this happened. For example, I've been spending every major holiday, like Christmas, etc., with them for the past decade. But neither do I want to bend to their unreasonable behavior. Moving to France and going completely silent isn't an option. I do want to repair the relationship in the long term. Ultimately, I'd love them to visit us. My 25 male stepdad has a gardening business. It's normally just him, but my brother 18 has been a big help and worked for him a lot over the years. The clients love my brother. He has a good work ethic and gets the job done properly and quickly. On the other hand, my stepbrother, 29, has worked for our stepdad a handful of times. Unfortunately, every time his work was sloppy and slow, and he spent the majority of his time on the phone, so stepdad never hired him again. Recently, stepdad has been sick. His body's just giving out on him, and our mom's forcing him to retire before he kills himself from work. He wants to give the business over to my brother since he has the work ethic and the rapport with the clients like him. My brother is basically our stepdad's mini-me, lol. My sister, stepsisters, and I are all okay with this since we feel our brother deserves it with the work he's put in and how he's helped build up the business. Our stepbrother, on the other hand, is angry and thinks he should get it since he's the biological child. I know I keep saying stepdad here, but that's just for clarity's sake, and he's very much our father and couldn't care less about biology. When our stepbrother was having his little fit about it, I told him to get over it and that he couldn't even hold a normal job, let alone run a business. Am I the idiot? Edit. The relationship is strained since stepbrother used to steal from him and us. He barely even sees any of us now, and that's not from our lack of trying. I don't even think he's met my stepsister's young son. Not the idiot. It might have been harsh the words you gave your stepbro, but honestly, that's the reality of the situation. It's dad's choice who he gives his business to, and he chose your brother, who would take care of it very well and is the person most likely to carry on the legacy. Would your stepbrother have been just as angry if your father had sold it to a stranger? He had nearly 10 years on your brother to build the rapport with your dad and his clients needed for this responsibility. This failure's on him. He saw your stepdad's hard work as something he could benefit from by slacking and doing none of the work going forward. I'm glad your stepdad and your siblings have a backbone. Your stepbrother's just looking to mooch, and that's it. Please ensure your dad gets all this in writing and certified by his wife and an attorney. If something unexpected happens to dad, the whole situation can become a crap show and fast. Get it in writing now so that the business, including the client list and physical assets, mowers, trucks, tools, all go to brother. You owe your stepbrother nothing, and if he keeps harassing you, feel free to block him. Backstory. My mother-in-law lived 4 hours from our city. Last year, she decided to sell her house and move near the family. She recently closed on another house here as her house was under contract. My wife stayed home overseeing some work on the new house and painting. My daughter, a first grader, and I went to my mother-in-law's house to get her moved out. My mother-in-law is the type of lady that exalts males on a glorified pedestal. Over the years, she's made numerous inappropriate remarks about my body build or my appearance. She's even gone as far as asking very personal questions. Nonetheless, her mouth has gotten her in significant trouble. With that said, when we arrived, she seemed to have been minding her manners at first. However, she commented to my daughter that when she gets older, she should marry a man just like her father. Later that night, we had an argument. My kid didn't eat dinner because she had a stomachache. My mother-in-law demanded she helps clean the kitchen and said I should be relaxing instead. My argument was why should she have to clean up from dinner when she didn't even eat? The next morning, my daughter slept in a bit, which irritated my mother-in-law. She commented that my wife is lazy. That's where her granddaughter gets it from. It made me angry considering all the work my wife has been doing to her new house. An hour later, my daughter got out of bed. I was outside when my mother-in-law was putting socks on my kid and said, "Don't ever get fat like your mother." I didn't know about that comment until the next day. As they were packing boxes, I overheard my mother-in-law telling my daughter that her mother never wanted her. For the record, that's not true. My mother-in-law was hounding my wife to end the pregnancy because she said my wife would blow up even bigger and that having kids ruins lives. My child was upset and hurt. My instinct was to get her away from that environment. We got lunch and I took her to the beach to distract her mind. We talked it over and I promised her what her grandmother had said was not true. I called my wife and she and I spoke for a while. While they were on the phone, the comment about not getting fat like your mother was brought to my attention. We went back to the house and I gathered our belongings and we left. Outside sat several pieces of furniture in a few large boxes. My mother-in-law tried hiring movers after we left, but none were available. Overnight it rained, which ruined everything. My brother-in-law called me an idiot for letting her furniture get ruined and also claimed that it was elder abuse. A week later, I received a handwritten bill requesting $4,000 for the ruined furniture. My mother-in-law wrote how saddened she was to realize my wife had brainwashed and demasculized me. The move occurred on the 1st of the year, and yesterday I received an additional handwritten letter stating that I'll be sued if I don't pay for the damages. Yes, Your Honor. I'm suing my son-in-law for damages. He left because I intentionally inflicted emotional trauma on his daughter. No, he wasn't being paid for this work. No, he was under no contractual obligation to complete the job. No, I made no efforts to cover my own items with tarps, garbage bags, etc. when I realized it was raining. Yeah, I don't see that playing out really well for her in court. Let her sue you and waste her own time and resources. She has nothing supporting her claim. That's wild. Your mother-in-law is a narcissist. Politely let her know you will deduct it from what she owes from your wife and daughter's past and future therapy bills to deal with the trauma she created by being awful. Not the idiot, and I hope your entire family goes no contact with this cruel and toxic woman. Sadly, I think it's going to get worse. I agree that no contact would be ideal, but knowing mother-in-law's moving closer makes me think that won't be the case, at least not right away. Opie's wife is likely far too used to her mother's mistreatment, which makes it harder to build the boundaries necessary. If she does try to take a stand, you know her mom will use moving closer as a guilt trip and manipulation tactic. I, 22 female, will graduate from nursing school next June. I've started looking for jobs and I've been thinking I could try being a particular nurse, those that you hire to take care of a patient in their own home, or if they need medical care 24/7. I prefer that for now as I got very anxious during my practices in hospitals. There are many patients and it's a very stressful situation if you don't have much experience. I plan to work as a domestic nurse for half a year and then try again to do work in a clinic or hospital after gaining experience. Well, I have a brother who's a young teen. He has autism and he's disabled from his waist down. My parents asked me if I'd be willing to work for them taking care of my brother. I said it was okay for me. A patient is a patient. Then they asked me how much the family discount was to consider hiring me. I told them they'll have to pay me full price if they wanted me to nurse my brother. There's no such thing as a family discount. They got angry. They told me I was doing this for them and for my brother, and that there's stuff more important than money. What I'm asking is not unreasonable after all. I have to take my brother to therapy, shower him, clean him up, feed him, give him his medication, etc. All the same stuff I'd have to do with any other patient. I think I'm asking for fair pay that's consistent with how much work I'll do. I'll charge £25 per hour, which is the average where I live. I don't think I'm being too unreasonable. They told me there's stuff more important than money. Like what? Gems? They're welcome to pay you in those too. Of course, since money's so unimportant, your parents should have no problem giving that worthless cash to you. LOL. I hate parents that try to take advantage of a child's success for their gain. You are not the idiot, but I really don't think you should start your professional career by working for your seemingly entitled parents. 1. You need the real-world experience of interacting with new people. You might think of doing this through a care company. 2. You'll need a valid reference when you get ready to return to a hospital or clinical situation. Working for your parents is different. 3. You need to start earning for yourself so that if you do or say anything they don't like, they can't hold your wages over your head. Family and business do not mix OP. Excellent advice. I also foresee hours being an issue with this situation. OP is scheduled from 8 to 5, but her parents expect her to stay later or come in early because it's family and family helps out. Also, I hate to think it, but I can't help but wonder if OP's parents would sabotage a reference to keep them from progressing in their career, so they have to keep working for their family. Your parents are tired of taking care of your brother and want you to start doing it, so it's not their responsibility anymore. They should want you to start your professional and independent life, well, which means watching you get a full-time job or agreeing to pay you full price for your services. To be honest, I think £25 an hour is way too low for this kind of care you want to provide. This would be the family discount. They're asking you to set up a recipe for resentment, and you don't have to play that game. So, this happened yesterday. I came home from work in the evening and saw something cooking on the stove. I asked my boyfriend, and he said he was boiling salmon. I was taken aback, like, completely. I asked him to repeat what he said, and he so casually said it again. I was like, EW, who boils salmon? He made a face and didn't reply. I told him it wasn't right, and that I never heard of salmon being boiled like an egg and water type of boiling. He said it was all right, and he liked it cooked that way. I called him dumb for this, to which he reacted by snapping and saying, who the heck says I can't boil salmon? I said a common sense. He replied, screw common sense. I bet it's no longer common sense to eat an apple from an apple tree in this time and age. We had an argument, and he started ignoring me, saying he felt hurt and disrespected when I called him dumb. He's now waiting for an apology. Am I the idiot? I called my boyfriend dumb because he likes his food cooked differently than I do. I actively sought him out, insulted him based on something that had zero impact on me, and demanded he fights back, and now he feels disrespected. I think he should apologize. Oh wow, you are the idiot. A massive one at that. This. Opie sitting here like, what idiot boils salmon while high-class restaurants are off poaching salmon and charging top dollar for it. Opie is acting like a spoiled toddler who's only been raised on chicken nuggets. Poaching/boiling salmon is very much a thing. It's funny you're getting all bent out of shape and upset when you're the one who called him dumb. Oh, Gordon Ramsay, he didn't even ask you to eat it. He cooked it for himself. He likes it, and it's cooked, so food safety is not an issue either. Mind your own business. Opie don't call people names, especially people you love. He feels hurt and disrespected because you use disrespectful language while criticizing his perfectly acceptable choice. You owe him an apology and to change your behavior. And that, dear viewers, is how an attempt to move forward led to an unexpected and painful family rift. If you are captivated by this tale and want to hear more stories of family conflicts and unexpected revelations, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and similar experiences in the comments below. Have you ever faced a situation where your past collided with your future in such a dramatic way? Until next time, remember, the ties that bind us can also be the ones that... Hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that is as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complex dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is My Mother Called My Son Unmanly for Kissing His Boyfriend, so I kicked her out. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat as we dive into the intricacies of love, acceptance, and standing up for what is right. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this captivating story. My mom is a conservative woman. The apple fell far from the tree with me. My mom and I, male 40, already have a rocky relationship because of my religious beliefs. I'm agnostic. My mom is the type of person to try and trap you in her beliefs. Well, despite all that, she's divorcing my dad and going through the divorce right now, and she left the house. She came to my doorstep the other day while my son was at school, asking me to stay. I wanted to say no, but against my better judgment, I let her. I don't think I should have let her in the first place. She would only stay with me for the night to see her family in another state. My son is bi and has a boyfriend. His boyfriend usually comes over after school. They study here, and it simply didn't cross my mind that he'd be coming over. He ended up coming home with his boyfriend. He's aware of my mother's beliefs. I was stuck, trying to avoid an argument. I just said that they'd be studying together and left it at that. Well, I guess when he was leaving, they kissed, and my mom saw it, came to me fuming, asking if I knew about these sins going on under my roof. I reminded her that those aren't sins under this roof, and it's my house. We went back and forth. The argument consisted of her saying that this was way too far. He's only a teenager, and these phases shouldn't be supported, and me just saying to zip it and act like an adult about this and not traumatize a child or don't let the door hit you on the way out. It wasn't until she decided to go to my son impulsively in the middle of my argument, telling him he was unmanly and emasculating himself, acting like a woman. She said that he needs to stop trying to use women's people for themselves. No clue what that meant, and that he looks like a fool spreading the image that he's some feminine male. She tried saying he was going to the bad place, but I walked her out of his room. I told her to get her stuff and find a new place to stay. She argued that she was just saying it like it was. It's a sin. I said that if she focuses on sins, focus on hers with divorcing her husband, and we went back and forth for over 30 minutes of me trying to get her out of my house. Finally fed up, I grabbed her bags, put all her stuff in them, tossed them outside, and told her to get out. Or I'll get more extreme with this. I called my sister to come pick her up. She was waiting for 15 minutes. Mac's mom made it a point to tell the whole family, and they told me that doing that was an idiot move because they made her uncomfortable because we knew her beliefs. I don't think that's right at all. Their reasoning is a no in my opinion, but solely for what I did. Am I the idiot? I feel my only dumb move was letting her in, not the idiot. She claims to be a Christian, but skipped the verses about not judging or loving one another. Your responsibility was to your son, and you took the action necessary to protect him and make sure he knew that you would. Your mother sounds horribly toxic, unfortunately, like a great many people. I'm glad your son is raised by a parent like you and not her. This story has a hypocritical choosing beggar idiot, and it's not you. She disrespected your rules in your house, even while you were doing her a favor. She couldn't zip it for 24 hours. Even if she disapproved, she could have gone to her room and shut up until the morning, or left of her own accord. She chose to die on the hill. Think of it this way. At least now it'll be much easier to go no contact after this, and your extended family told on themselves. Grandma sucks. Get a rainbow flag for the front porch. Maybe it'll work like garlic on vampires, and she'll stay away. I'm 29 male, currently planning a wedding, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty details. For background, my parents got divorced when I was 5. The divorce happened after my dad fell in love with his current wife, my stepmom, Alice. They claimed they didn't cheat, but waited to be separated before anything physical happened. I don't know or need to know whether that's true. My dad and Alice got married, and we were living together by the time I was 7. They had my 2 siblings within the next 4 years. My parents had split custody, and Alice was 100% a mother figure to me. We're very close, and she's been there for me in every tough moment. She also helped pay for my college and grad school, which I greatly appreciate. My mom is a good mom, but we've never been as close as I am with my dad and Alice. Our personalities are very different. We're planning the first dances right now, and have my first dance with my fiancé, and she has hers picked out with her dad. Her parents are still married, so there's no drama there. But being so close to Alice, I really don't feel right excluding her and only dancing with my mom. So I asked her if she'd be comfortable doing one with me as well. She was overjoyed and cried with emotion. I'm really excited about it, but once my mom found out, she flipped out, said I'm replacing her as my dad had replaced her. I told her it's not a replacement, but she's been so supportive of me my entire life, and I consider her a true bonus mother, so I don't want to exclude her. But she doesn't want to accept that. So yesterday, my aunt, mom's sister, called me and ripped me a new one. I know it's a little controversial, but in my heart, it's what I really want to do. Am I the idiot for going through with this and having 2 mother-son dances? Personally, I've been to a few weddings with steps involved where there were 2 mother-son or father-daughter dances, and it seemed really sweet, not like overkill. I will do the shortened versions of the songs, so it won't be too long if that matters. Not the idiot. Alice has been in your life since you were 5. So basically, most major formative years and events, she's been extremely supportive, helped you get through school, and has been a true mother figure in your life, and you want to share this big event with both of your moms. If your mom doesn't want to share that time with Alice, no one can force her. But she also can't force you to snub a woman who's always been there for you from such a young age, because she's still hurt by something that happened decades ago. Yes, and I know it's not for me to judge people holding grudges, but OP said they divorced when he was 5. He's now 29, and his dad and Alice are still together. It might sting, but it's also reality. OP's mom must come to terms with the reality of the situation, and now her son has replaced her. This woman stepped into her life and took her child. Their relationship is arguably closer. Wouldn't you have a problem with that? OP, when you're saying your vows to your wife, staring into her eyes, and telling her how much she means to you, I want you to picture your future family. Now imagine your wife having intimacy with some other dude, and your wife unrepentantly says, well, screw you, you're not good enough, and she leaves. So all you have left in the world is your child. And now you're looking your mom in the eye and saying, yeah, of course, she's just better than you. Dude, just wow. Your lack of empathy for your mom is staggering. My point is that don't be surprised if your mom doesn't attend the wedding. Don't be surprised if you never talk to your mom again. Dude, your mom's life was burned to the ground, and now you're hugging and dancing with the woman who lit the match in front of a crowd. Man, I just can't fathom hating my mom that much, but you do you, idiot. I agree. If Alice was a good person, she would manage some empathy for the woman who's OP's actual mom. She could say, "Honey, that is such an honor to be asked, but I don't want to hurt your mom. And as a mother myself, I know just how hurtful it would be. You should share that special mom dance with just her. OP, this woman broke your family and then warmed her way into your heart with money, and you're saying it puts her on the same level as your real mother? Wow. I, female 29, own my own apartment. It was inherited, and I know I'm extremely lucky. However, to be able to keep the apartment, I rent out a room. We share a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom, and have separate bedrooms. When my current roommate, female 26, signed the contract, I reviewed it with her. Mostly standard stuff, but one section is added that no cats or babies. Children are allowed. Cats, because I'm highly allergic, and children because I don't want to live with a child. Children visiting is fine. We have an agreement that any long-term visitors will need to be cleared by the other person. Breaking those rules will lead to eviction. We get along great. We're quite similar in our habits. She always pays her rent on time, and there is no food stealing. After about a year, she calls me into the bathroom one day. Standing in front of the mirror in a foreign-fitting stretchy dress, she looks at her stomach. She asks me if I think the dress still fits her. I could see her stomach was bigger, but I sometimes look like that in the evening, so I assumed she was bloated. I brush it off and say she looks fine. We should normalize being bloated at the end of the day. She gives me a weird look before she says she's not bloated. She's 3 months pregnant. Yep, that's how she decided to tell me. Anyway, I'm kind of taken aback as it came out of the blue. She's never mentioned it before or wanting a kid or a boyfriend. Found out the pregnancy was from a one-night stand. After probably looking like an idiot for a few seconds, I calmly congratulated her. Not with a lot of enthusiasm per se, as I really don't get excited about the idea of pregnancy and babies, and this really was a surprise. But I was polite enough after an awkward silence before I made up an excuse to have to go study. A few weeks go by, and we kind of just go back to normal. While making dinner one evening, I ask her if she's found a new place to stay. She's really confused and asks what I mean. I reminded her of the contract she signed that says no babies can live here. I tell her that she can stay up until the baby comes, but it's wise to look for a new place soon. I don't know if she assumed she'd be able to continue to stay here with the baby, but I guess so. A few days later, I started getting texts from her friends calling me an idiot for kicking out a pregnant woman on the street. She has like 5 months to find a new place, and I charge a pretty average rent for the room, so it's not like she can't afford other places with roommates. I completely understand why I might seem like an idiot to some, but I genuinely think I'm in the right here. Why should I ignore my boundaries and comfort because my roommate decided to have a baby when she knew from the beginning it's a deal breaker to live here? Anyway, I guess I'm here to get a wider perspective on this. Not the idiot. It's your apartment, and she signed a contract. Getting knocked up does not automatically qualify you for exceptions. You haven't kicked her out. You've told her she needs to find a new living situation. She has months to find a new place, and all those friends calling and texting you can offer up their home for her to stay. Did she think you would help raise this baby and just forget about the contract? When was she going to tell you? LOL. If she thinks she's going to do this all by herself, maybe she doesn't understand what's about to happen here, because it's hard for me to imagine how you wouldn't get pulled into helping all the time, or at the very least, being very inconvenienced and looking like a jerk when you tell you won't help out when she's exhausted and sleep deprived. So, I completely understand why you'd want to keep the boundary. Exactly. She did agree to the contract. No babies means no babies. You were never the kind of besties that you'd put up with someone else's baby, and you gave her 5 months' notice as well. Her financial situation is not yours to solve, and it's much kinder to be firm about this now than when she comes home from the hospital and finds her stuff on the curb. My wife and I have been married for a decade. She's a stay-at-home wife, and we have no children. She has a daughter from a previous relationship, Sarah, and we've gotten along for the most part. Sarah's a junior in college pursuing a biology degree with additional courses required by medical schools. She's dreamed of being a doctor and helping people since her mom and I met. The problem is, she could be a better student. She's failed her biology one class and had to retake it to get a B. She really struggled in her next level biology class and finished with a C. She also got a C in her chemistry class. She got a B in Calculus 1 and 2. She's making A's in her non-science and non-math classes, so they're padding her GPA, which is at a 3.2. This semester, I just learned that she'd make B's and C's in her science and math classes. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know any doctors, but I did online research. I discovered that medical schools require many things, but at the top of the list is a high GPA and top grades in science and math classes. Unfortunately, with Sarah's grades, she's not getting into any medical school. I even looked into nursing school to see if I could talk her into going that route, and all the ones I looked at require higher grades than she has. I talked with my wife about it, and she said that medical schools look at other things besides grades, and that's where Sarah excels. She has a solid volunteer resume, and she cares about people. I argue none of that mattered if her grades weren't good enough. She argues that Sarah will do great in the interviews. As I said, I have no experience with medical school, so I can't argue with her logic. Instead, I talked with Sarah when she came home for Thanksgiving and told her to look into another major because she might not be cut out to be a doctor. She ran to her mom, and we all got into a huge argument. I lost my temper and yelled that I'm not wasting any more money on something she'll fail in. I told them both I'm not paying for next semester's classes unless she changes her major to something more realistic. I feel bad, I do, but I'm not rich, and I don't have money to waste if she doesn't have a chance to get into medical school. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Medical schools are very competitive, and everyone has a minimum GPA requirement. If her GPA is below that, they'll automatically reject her without the chance of an interview. Sometimes being a good parent is putting a stop to the madness and saying no, even though it's hard. I would go and speak with some professors and guidance counselors about this and see what they say, then have her go with you before any decision is made about her future. Is she aware of the work that goes into being a doctor? What would it be like? Can she do some work at a hospital and see how hard it is? See if nursing is best for her? You are the idiot. It's your money, but to tell your stepdaughter out of nowhere that you cut the money isn't nice. Give her one semester to achieve better grades and prove herself, then she'd know what she had to do and what was on the line. I'm a successful engineer. Do you know what I had to Calculus 1 and 3? Do you know what I never used since school? Any of my college classes. While a different career path, classes don't correlate to real-world experiences. Next time you go to your doctor's office, please ask your doctor about the last time they used Calculus 1 or 2 in treating a patient. You are the idiot. It's not wasteful just because she doesn't have a 4.0. I've usually gotten along with all my son's teachers until now. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a single mom from my son's third grade class, and she was complaining about how hard it is to be a single mom. Then she said, "You single dads have it so much easier than single moms." The stuff she was complaining about seemed more about her being lazy, and it's not like her kid's dad isn't as involved as she is. I, on the other hand, am raising a preschooler and a young child solo. There's no child support, no one to take them off my hands, etc. I can't tell you how helpful it is when both have an after-school play date with other kids. Parents take little stuff like that for granted. In response, I told the single mom, "It's not that I have it easier, It's that I have my act together. She was offended by my remark, but it's true. Yesterday, I was speaking to my son's teacher. She's someone I wouldn't get along with, so I don't try to deal with her unless I must deal with her. She asked me if I thought it was helpful to tell other parents that they were lazy. I asked her if she was helpful with her grammar and spelling errors in her class emails. She asked what errors. I said, I'll send her some examples, because I wanted to be helpful. So I did, and she hasn't responded. Personally, she should be paying more attention to her emails and less to providing commentary on discussions that she wasn't a part of. Not the idiot. Parents can't run to their child's teacher because of another adult. Also, if she took that as you told her she's lazy, then that's on her. She obviously knows it's true and got offended by it. Also, no reason for a teacher to mingle with parental stuff that has nothing to do with the child or education. I'd be petty too if she didn't have correct grammar teaching my child. Everyone's the idiot here. Look, I get it must be infuriating to have your parenting undermined by someone else, but take a breath and seek out the high road every so often. The mom was venting. Some people do a crappy job blowing off steam and bring other people down with them. Don't be like them. And while the teacher is way out of line to get involved with this scenario, your petty response was an unnecessary escalation. And there you have it, a journey through the emotional turmoil of family expectations and personal boundaries. If this story resonated with you or left you wanting more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a difficult choice about family and personal values? Until next time, remember, standing up for yourself and your loved ones can sometimes be the hardest, yet most important,